Get things cleaned up in here as we get the Megacast going. Good day, I'm Tyler Kieft, joined in the studio by one of our new co-hosts today. It is Erica Jones joining us over there, a West Bloomfield High School graduate and a student at Miami University, now going to be part of our team here on the Megacast. Good Thursday to you watching us all around Oakland County on Civic Center TV, Comcast Channel 15, and AT&T Channel 99 in the greater West Bloomfield area, that being West Bloomfield and the cities of Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake Village. On Birmingham area municipal access in Birmingham, Bingham Farms, Beverly Hills, and Franklin on Comcast 15 and AT&T 99. And of course, listening to us on our family of radio stations, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH, The Biff, my alma mater, and WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, all throughout the Oakland County area. And I mentioned we have Erica Jones in the studio with us. She'll be with us a lot more often now, be here in the studio. So Erica, just briefly, go ahead and say hello. How are you doing? How have you been holding up during the coronavirus outbreak?
Hey, I'm doing good. Obviously, no one's happy to have their lives interrupted, but I've been finishing up this semester of school online. We just ended yesterday, and I'm thrilled to be here all summer. I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to work with you guys and stay on top of everything. I can't wait to get started and being here in the studio. It's just great to be back.
It is. It's great to have you back. We are excited. And, talk about online education. We'll have plenty to talk on that note about with Kenneth Gutman here in a moment. Our other guests today, Tara Tomcsik-Husak from the Troy Chamber of Commerce, Natalie Sikora, the co-owner and stylist at the Studio for Hair, Tammy Miller from Telegraph Urgent Care will give us some insight on urgent care facilities later on in the show. And Oakland County Commissioner Kristen Nelson will talk about a new task force aimed at helping seniors cope with the mental health troubles and the loneliness of the COVID-19 pandemic. But kicking off the show today, our Facebook partner is the Walled Lake Consolidated School District, bringing us just incredible Facebook numbers on Facebook Live. And joining us now is their superintendent, Kenneth Gutman. Ken, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tyler. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It's been a couple weeks since we've last talked. How are you? How are your teachers? How's your staff and faculty?
We're doing well. I think everybody's doing really well, adapting to, the cliched new normal and doing what's best for children.
So it's also Teacher Appreciation Week. Have you had parents, families showing their appreciation in different ways for your teachers? And if you have some examples of that, could just give us maybe some stories you may have received from teachers in Walled Lake.
You bet. So we've had a number of parents reach out on social media, and that's been a lot of it. It's more difficult to do more than that right now. But they've reached out on social media. They've sent emails and reached out to our teachers to just thank them in any way they can. I know a great example of an administrative group representing or honoring our teachers. We had our Walled Lake Western High School staff drive around and put a lawn sign on every teacher's lawn and talk about their warrior pride. So that was a nice touch as well. It's not the same as it would normally be where you have parents dropping off lunches and doing ceremonies and all of that, but they're doing whatever they can. Our teachers are phenomenal. They're phenomenal, and I wish we could all do more for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have great teachers all throughout Oakland County and all the school districts that we've talked about, Walled Lake absolutely included. I've had a chance to talk with some teachers from Walled Lake over my time at Civic Center TV and in our efforts to give the news about education in our community, and they do fantastic work there. There's been a lot of change, and the change has kind of come in different ways throughout this process for teachers, for students, for administrators. What has your staff learned during this process?
Well, I can tell you first what we've all learned is that teachers are indispensable and there's no replacement for face-to-face instruction. But what they've learned is there are still ways to deliver authentic instruction to children to do the best to meet their needs. Our teachers care. I think we're at an advantage at this point in the year, knowing that our teachers already had established relationships with our students, so they knew which buttons to push to help students be successful. I think it would have been more challenging to start the year like this. So they've learned that online instruction works, although it is not what face-to-face instruction is. They've learned that this is a community that continues to value education. The support from parents and community members has been resounding, And I know it's like that throughout the other districts in the area, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, Avondale, all those other listener groups as well, and those who are watching the show. Look, this is an area that supports education, and we've all been overwhelmed with the support.
You mentioned that the relationships that the teachers had already established with these kids as being critical in their ability to transition so quickly to virtual learning. How have those relationships changed or even improved possibly during this time? And what does that do? What does that mean for the future of these students and their education, and for these teachers and how they maybe modify how they teach in the future?
So I don't know that it's necessarily improved relationships. I think it's changed them a little bit. I can tell you that there's some vulnerability when you're sitting there on your couch or at your kitchen table and everyone sees that's where you're sitting, right? So there's some vulnerability there when a dog walks into the frame. And that vulnerability does lead to improved relationships, but I still think you can't replace face-to-face. Total online instruction isn't the answer. What was the second part of your question, Tyler? I apologize.
My second part was just how do you see the relationships
future of
improving?
education,
Yeah.
right?
With those
So
relationships
I
being
think
different.
that, my first thought, which much to the dismay of many of our students, is why do we have snow days that don't count as snow days, or that count as days off of school when we can deliver instruction on snow days? Not something any student wants to hear, perhaps not something every staff member wants to hear. But if we were to have a snow day, why could we not deliver instruction virtually on that day and not lose a day? So particularly in a bad winter, that has some implications for the future as well. The other is, as we begin school in the fall, assuming we begin school in the fall, which is an entirely different subject, perhaps we look at some sort of hybrid model depending on where we are with this pandemic.
So just talking about that, you touch on fall next year. Let's talk a little bit about the future. We'll come back to some other things later on. But as far as the future of school after this, with all we've learned, with the way that things are changing and with the new normal that we're about to embark on as we come out of this crisis, if school is in person again in the fall, how will elementary school, middle school, high school look different, operate different in Walled Lake or even in other school districts from your communication?
Thank you. So when you look at the way our schools are constructed in this country, they're not constructed for students to be 6 feet apart. They're not constructed for there to be social distancing. They're not constructed for students to eat in classrooms necessarily. And there are contractual implications with all of this. So we're looking at three options right now. One of them is we open school as normal and do our best. I don't know that doing our best follows any of the guidelines. You can't have 12 students on a bus in a classroom and be able to run a school district, especially with knowing that we'll have fewer resources in the fall than we have now because of the state budget. Another option we're looking at is perhaps a hybrid model. Some days in school, some days online instruction. And a third model, which I hope is not the case, but that would be total virtual instruction again. So much of it will depend on what executive orders exist at the time. It will depend on where we are with this pandemic. And of course, number one above all else is keeping everyone safe, students, staff, and community.
And how would you imagine that hybrid model? It's one of your three options you discussed, hybrid of in-person and virtual. Would that be some days your entire school or certain classes or certain grades are at home and some are in school? Is it going to be half of the class comes in, half the class does virtual one week and then switches off the next week? How would that work?
Yeah, Tyler, we don't know yet. We're playing with all of those ideas. We just want to be prepared. We would love for everyone to be back, but if we have to go virtually, you may have A days and B days, right? So half the class is there, half isn't. It's easier in an elementary school than it is at a high school. You look at our high schools, 3 comprehensive large high schools with 1,400 to 1,600, 1,700 students. Our cafeterias, our hallways, our transportation. It's really difficult to do social distancing. So we would have to find a way to have fewer staff and students, fewer students in the building. Of course, I still have concerns about safety of our staff, and that's something we'll have to work out as well.
Kenneth Gutman, Superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District, joining us on the Megacast on our family of stations on TV on Birmingham Municipal Access. Civic Center TV and on the radio on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH, The Biff, and WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio. So Ken, right now a big issue is how do we honor this senior class? Are there any plans in motion right now for some sort of a graduation ceremony or something else along those lines for these seniors?
You bet there are, Tyler. And, I have a son who's a high school senior as well. And I will tell you that I think it's too bad that we're dealing with it. That's putting it mildly, that they're experiencing this in their senior year. I think we all remember our senior years. These were good times. And so we want to make sure that we do honor them appropriately. We have rescheduled our in-person graduation ceremony to August 2nd. It was supposed to be May 31st. And so we are hoping, we're at Eastern Michigan University. The plan, if we are allowed to proceed, would be to have more time in between. We do all three commencements on the same day. So we would have more time in between for cleaning. If that can't happen, we may be doing a virtual commencement. At the same time, we're looking at an activity, whether it's a parade, a drive-in, something to make sure that we do have something to recognize our students with decorating cars, keeping people away from each other socially. That's another option. We're still planning on moving on with our honors convocations and our scholarship ceremonies, although those will all be done virtually as well. Our high school principals and I and my deputy superintendent met this week, and we're looking at all options to make sure that these kids, these young adults, get exactly what they deserve considering the circumstances.
I have a family of teachers on my dad's side of the family who have been sharing videos on social media of their school district and other school districts doing their part in the meantime to show appreciation and honor their seniors while they're still in school and while things are still kind of in flux for graduation, similar to how you've seen teachers be shown their appreciation this week during Teacher Appreciation Week. What have you seen possibly from the teachers to the students, from students to students, to show that appreciation for the seniors while they're going through this unprecedented final year of their high school experience?
Yeah, so good question, Tyler. I have seen a lot of virtual shout outs from teachers, from staff to students. I've seen that from administrators to teachers and students. A lot of it's being done virtually. And again, you see people putting out yard signs, you see people doing drive-bys, people, by people's houses and honoring them in that way. None of that replaces what we normally have, but it's really nice touch at this time. And so we're going to continue to look for ideas. I saw there was a smaller town where I'm sure you've seen this, where they had light posts and they had all of the seniors' pictures on the light posts. We would love to do something like that, but we'll have about 1,100 graduates this year, and we don't have 1,100 light posts. So that's why we're looking at other ideas.
Yeah, there's always ideas in motion, and there's been so much collaboration between other school districts during this time. Have you been talking with other superintendents? Have your principals been talking with other high school principals around the local area, around the state, about ways that maybe you can integrate some of their ideas or they can integrate some of yours for honoring their seniors or continuing on the school year?
Absolutely. So I've been on calls with Tri-County superintendents, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb. I've been on calls with the Michigan superintendent group, with the state superintendent. We've been on calls with the governor. We've been collaborating with students, particularly, or with superintendents, particularly in Oakland County, as have our principals. In fact, I was just on a call with a school in Korea with Pat Watson from Bloomfield Hills and a number of superintendents and educators from around the area to think about how we reopen schools. The collaboration's been really, really strong. And it's been probably one of the best things to come out of this is it's forced us to become closer together as cohort groups of principals and teachers and superintendents to make sure that we're sharing best practices with each other.
What's been the parents' reaction or how have they been holding up from your knowledge during this as they continue to adjust to kind of being a teacher's assistant sort of for their students at home?
So our reaction from parents has probably been 10-1, really happy with the way things have gone, but we're certainly sensitive to the fact that this is tough, that our teachers spend years learning how to teach. They spend years learning, honing their craft, and to be able to replicate that as a parent is difficult, particularly when you may have a job as well, or you may have lost your job and you're dealing with that. So we recognize everyone's in a different situation, and while our parents have been supportive, we also know if there's a day where your child can't work because there's just too much going on, we get it. We're human first. Take care of your basic needs first. School will still be there.
So you mentioned collaborating with other superintendents locally and even across the world in Korea, and I think that's an interesting angle to just touch on briefly. Ken Gutman, Superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. What similarities, what have you learned from those schools internationally that you've been in contact with and applied here? What similarities are there between what American schools are doing to adjust to this crisis and what a school, for example, in Korea, like you said, is doing to adjust to this?
Oh, absolutely. And so we have one with Denmark next week as well. And Pat Watson set these calls up and invited a number of us. So I want to give him a shout out for that. The call we had this morning, which I had to get off of to get on, here on the Megacast, which of course nothing would come before the Megacast. You need to know that, Tyler.
Thank you.
Is that they're looking to reopen school right now. And we wanted to gain as many lessons as we could. There are more similarities because it's an international school in Korea. And they're dealing with the social distancing issues. They're looking at a staggered start, bringing back groups of students a little bit at a time. They're nervous about all the same things we're nervous about: the cleaning, the proximity, how you deliver education, how people feel safe. They worry about their classrooms as well, how you keep people apart and still deliver meaningful instruction. And think back to a kindergarten room, the kindergarten room there and a kindergarten room here. Social distancing isn't really a thing in kindergarten. So there are challenges ahead, and they share those with us.
And it's great to always learn and collaborate. You can learn a lot from other people, and during a crisis like this, you need to be working with other people and learning from others and communicating, because you're going through a similar struggle that they're going through, and they're going through it in a different way. There's always something you can learn that's from a different culture, from a different society even, that can be integrated into what you're doing and provide a lesson. So I think that's incredible what you and what other superintendents and school districts are doing. Ken Gutman, Superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. We're also joined by Walled Lake on their Facebook Live, and thank you, of course, for allowing us to do that once again this week. Before, just a few more minutes with you today, Ken, before I let you go, we can't help but touch on the coming budget issues that will definitely be affecting our schools. We spoke earlier this week with Senator Rosemary Bayer about the work that she's been doing, and others across the aisle in the legislature are doing to hopefully mitigate some of those issues. For Walled Lake's perspective, what is your school district doing to prepare to shoulder the burden of what this financial hit may be come fall?
Yeah, thank you. I was on a call with Senator Bayer and a bunch of other legislators and superintendents earlier this week, and the outlook isn't rosy for public schools, nor is it rosy for the state of Michigan when you look at budget shortfalls. On May 15th, there will be the Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference. We're hoping to get better numbers then. But right now, to play it safe, we're projecting a reduction of $500 per student. To give you a sense, that takes us back all the way to 2008. Where we had such a huge reduction. Walled Lake Schools just this year was scheduled to get the money back that we had lost since 2008. So we would finally gain back the $470 reduction from then. It's devastating. And so at a time when we're looking at reducing class sizes because of social distancing, when you're looking to have 12 students in a classroom, a few students on a bus, when you're looking to do that, you simply can't afford it when you're looking at reducing. For us, $10.5 to $11 million. Well, that's a very arduous task. So we've had a number of budget meetings this week. We'll discuss the potential budget reductions with our board soon. Our associations have year after year given huge concessions, and we're so blessed to have them. I don't know how else we balance a budget right now. And so we'll continue to put students first, no matter what. But we also know that we have a very difficult situation financially ahead of us, which no one could have predicted. The governor not too long ago gave us the best potential budget we've seen in a dozen years, and we certainly know now that will not come to fruition.
And education is so critical, and hopefully the collaboration with the legislature and with the state turns this potentially very murky situation as far as the budget for education in the state is concerned into something a little bit more positive going forward. We'll know more about it in the coming weeks as that budget comes together. Ken Gutman, Superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. Before I let you go, anything else that we maybe haven't touched on, or anything else you'd like to say before I let you go?
Well, I think you've covered it. I think you do a nice job, Tyler. It's nice talking to you this morning, and I'm happy to come back. I just feel so fortunate to work in a community, to interact with this great supportive community where parents, students, staff, and community members come together on behalf of children. And so we'll continue to fight the good fight. We're going to take care of our children each and every day.
Well, thank you, and keep doing that. Education is so critical to our future, especially in times like this where we need as much innovation, creativity, and perseverance going forward, and the education system plays a critical role in that. Kenneth Gutman, Superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District, joining us on the Megacast, Birmingham Area Municipal Access TV, Civic Center TV, Lakes FM 88.1, WBFH, The Biff, WAHS 89.5, Avondale Community Radio, and on the Facebook Live page of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. Superintendent Gutman, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Kenneth Gutman from the Walled Lake School District. We're also on their Facebook page today on the Megacast. We thank them very much for once again allowing us to spread this critical information from throughout the county through their media outlets, and they do a great job of sharing all that information so that we can get what you need to know in your backyard to you here on the Megacast. We're going to take a short break. Dave Scott will join us in studio, and next we'll be talking with Tomcsik-Husak, the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce. You are watching and listening to the Megacast on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, 89.3 Lakes FM, WBFH 88.1 The Biff, and WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio. The Megacast returns shortly.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Good morning and welcome back to the Megacast here on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH The Biff, WAHS Avondale Community Radio, WAHS 89.5 FM Avondale Community Radio. Welcome to joining us on Civic Center TV Channel 15, Birmingham Area Community Television Channel 15, both of those on Comcast, and we are always on Channel 99 all across our Oakland County coverage area on AT&T. Go to one of our community television channels. Just hit West Bloomfield or hit Birmingham and you won't find us. Other way you can hit us up, go to civiccentertv.com and watch us right there on the web. Easy way to do it there. And then today, big thank you to the Walled Lake Consolidated Schools. Didn't get a chance to talk to Ken myself. Tyler, nice job. And we thank the Walled Lake Consolidated Schools for joining us again today. And they always do a great job, Tyler, sharing their Facebook page with us, and we greatly appreciate that literally millions of people that tune in via Facebook Live and whatnot. Seriously, a lot of people. All right, so an awful lot going on. We're going to talk about our top coronavirus news stories in just a couple of minutes. It's a huge day today because the governor has a press conference a little later on, I think around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and she's in a bit of a tussle with the legislature. I bet that will sneak into the press conference a little bit, Mr. Keefe.
I would imagine. I mean, she normally has been doing these press conferences at least the last several weeks on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yesterday, the lawsuit comes down right around 12 noon when she'd be announcing that press conference. She doesn't have a press conference at 3 o'clock, and my initial thought was maybe she's preparing her reaction to it.
I think we'll hear a little bit of that, and we're going to hear an awful lot about the continued opening of our businesses, which is great news for everybody. And with the auto manufacturing facilities, they continue to tease us. UAW says they got folks in the factories getting things ready, and I suspect we'll hear about that today as well. So should be a biggie. If you cannot catch it directly on the state sites, go to civiccentertv.com. Tyler will moderate that press conference later on this afternoon for those of you that want to hear that live. So I'm really embarrassed that I have not gone over and had a cup of coffee with our next guest because her office is right around the corner from mine, and I'm a member of the Troy Chamber through Motown Digital, and we've done a lot with the Chamber, and shame on me, Tara, that I've not gotten over and said hello, but it's really good to meet you via Zoom, have you on the radio, and say hello. She is Tara Tomcsik-Husak. She is the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, and welcome to the Megacast.
Good morning. Yes, I'm going to hold you accountable to that coffee. So
we'll do it. We will do it soon. Tyler's yelling at me because I got to get all the right buttons hit here.
Right up there.
What do I do?
The next one to the right.
Oh, that one right there. Okay, there we go. So now we can see you in full living color. So this is not new to you.
My kitchen.
Is that where you are? You're in the kitchen. You put the Troy Chamber of Commerce sign up there. It kind of looked like you were in the office.
It's funny. I laugh because I've been doing morning meetings like this and happy hour meetings like this. So you just got to adapt to the environment.
Listen, I want to put that cup of coffee on hold and come to your current office. It looks like a better deal.
Happy hour it is.
Tara, you do great on television. This is not an uncomfortable environment for you. You have a lot of media in your history. For folks that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So for the most part, I've been working in the nonprofit and entertainment industries for a long time. I used to work for the American Heart Association. I was the vice president of mission advancement for the state of Michigan. And then I did a lot of acting on the side. So I traditionally played more giggly blonde characters. So I was very typecasted, but from visual, not much intellectual. But I did stuff on All My Children and did a lot of music theater throughout my life.
Wow. Did you enjoy that part of your career?
I did. It was fun. As much as I loved it, and I still do acting on the side every now and then, and it's a good release. But the reality is I was more purpose-driven. So although there's a great purpose for the arts, I always was busy doing other things. So you just have to put your dedication into, I guess, one bucket and fill the rest of the buckets as you can.
Well, you're filling a role that is so needed right now at the Troy Chamber, and it's a very active and vibrant business community. And every time I drive around Troy, I see another restaurant, another new business that's opening up, and we were on fire. And then all of a sudden this coronavirus thing came. How's the community doing? How's the chamber doing? How are folks in Troy doing through what has been a very difficult period of time?
We're still very resilient. So I will say that the great thing about Troy is that we all kind of band together. So as much as everyone was scrambling and trying to figure out what to do, we all were pretty understanding that no one had a clear plan at this time. So there was a lot of fear, especially in our restaurant industries, like you were saying. We have just Big Beaver alone, I think there's 80-something restaurants. So it's a very busy area, and some of them were just overcoming that construction traffic because we were dealing with the exposing and the I-75 traffic. So there were some issues with that. So we were just getting over that bubble and making sure our restaurants were getting back into the swing of things, and then COVID happened. Now we're actually working really hard because I'd say within 4 days, we were able to get all the restaurants to let us know if they were doing delivery services, curbside. And as things were changing with the governor's orders, we had to adapt and make sure we could still showcase all of our restaurants and businesses. So as difficult as it was, we're staying pretty optimistic. We've seen some of the restaurants close that weren't doing so well for the takeout service, and now they're starting to reopen. So we're in a good spot with them. There was a few things in the beginning where people were specifying we may take a 30% loss for our restaurants, meaning 30% of our restaurants would not come back. That was terrifying, but we're not seeing that result right now. We're seeing that we're pushing forward, and I see a lot of our restaurants coming back, and I'm very optimistic, and I believe they are as well.
She is Tara Tomcsik-Husak. She is the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, joining us today here in the Megacast all across Oakland County. And I'm Dave Scott. Tyler Keefe is here, and we thank you for being here. So we're getting close. I feel, Tara, we're getting close. This is going to open up pretty soon. Maybe we'll have word from the governor. It's going to be, you think of the sectors that are difficult to untangle, and I think about restaurants in particular. And you did mention Big Beaver. Just it's like a maven for restaurants now. I call it the suburban strip there, the restaurants. You just roll down. I mean, we got all that buzz going on downtown, but you got a lot of buzz going on right now too in Troy on Big Beaver. But are there plans? Are you talking to the restaurateurs? Are they anticipating what the governor is going to say? And are folks working on plans to get the front door open for dining?
Yeah, it varies per restaurant. So they're all coming up with their own plans. We've actually been doing a lot of educational resources and events, kind of how are we going to open? What are the next steps? With sanitation rules changing, social distancing rules, there's a lot of confusion. Now, they're always trying to overcome it, but a lot of it is going to deal with their physical space. What are they going to do with the physical space? Are they going to have to put a bunch of tables in storage to keep that distance between them? How are they working on new sanitation? Will they be masked? And so a lot of this deals with a lot of new purchasing and a lot of new ways to do business. And even with that being said, will the tables being turned be quick enough for them to make the revenue for what they've been used to making? So I know a lot of them are putting a lot of concentration around their to-goes. So that's good for now, but we want to go back to the restaurants. We see some restaurants trying to figure out more open air and working with their HVAC. So it's going to be an uphill climb and constantly changing, but we do see a positive future for it.
Well, and that was my next question. Are the things that you might be lobbying the city of Troy, the county, the state to say, hey, we need to create some outdoor seating environments. Some of the restaurants have them. It might be something we need to create. Are those discussions going on, Tara?
Yeah, I mean, I work really closely with the county and the city and the state. So a lot of it is I work specifically as an advocate for my members. So while if they have needs and concerns, they'll come to us. We'll work and try to get some at least conclusions or try to see if there's any guidance in that direction. Most of the places, there's not too many options for outdoor dining because most of them are right on Big Beaver. So we can't really have a table in the middle of it. But it is working on how are we going to easily maintain the social distancing and what kind of regulations are going to be put in place. So how are they going to be enforcing these regulations? What are they going to be held accountable to? And how do they bring their team and staff back? So I think everything is one step at a time. Anyone who says they have all the answers and they know their direct plan, they're pretty much lying.
I appreciate you saying that because I say two things every day. I say that because no one knows. We're all figuring it out. And then I love this quote, and my team's getting sick of me quoting Pat Watson, the superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills. But what he said on the show, we use every day. And he said, Dave, he said this on this program a couple weeks ago. He said, Dave, hope is not a plan. Hope is not a plan. I love that, right? So we can hope it's going to get better. We can wish it's going to get better. We can dream it's going to get better. Now let's buckle down, get our legal pad. Let's come up with a plan. Option A, B, and C. That's what people are doing. And I don't know about you. I would love to hear from you on this, though. I have seen some amazing stories of people pivoting like you would not believe. Companies that were doing this are now like way over here. People that are doing it, people on our own staff. Jeff, the producer of this radio show. Jeff, about a month ago, was moving road cases and plugging in video gear. Now he's an amazing, he's like a 4-year college graduate journalist. He's writing stories, putting them on the web, booking amazing guests like you, and the guy's doing an amazing job. So do you see these pivots, and do they warm your heart like they warm mine?
Every single day. It's really magical. And as I've been actually doing a lot of blog writing, which is not something I'm normally doing, but it's trying to understand how the effects of COVID-19 is affecting our businesses. So I've been actually working with individual things like Walsh College. We did one on Pomeroy Senior Living, because all of these companies are dealing with all different types of aspects. We did one on a child care center today. But what's interesting about it is you see places like Duck Donuts. It's a brand new donut restaurant. Sorry, my coworkers are joining me.
Okay, we got the. Who is that? Who is your That
was Jazz, and Nomi's on my lap. So I'm doing. Gotta do what I gotta do. But we have like Duck Donuts. They were only open 1 week, and then this happened.
Oh, man.
So they shut down, and they've been making donuts for first responders, dropping it off at the hospital systems. We have Mahindra, who just transitioned into making face shields and doing PPE. So we're seeing all of these companies step up to the plate and make it happen. We have a travel company that actually, because obviously people aren't booking travel right now, they were instead saying, hey, log into our website and we'll be able to deliver groceries for you. Like, the people and the sense of community is just immense. And there's been numerous times I've been reading things and just crying because I can't believe how proactive we're trying to be, even in such a crisis time. So it's extremely motivating. Our chamber members are spectacular. And I chuckle because over the past few months, we have been working probably 80 plus hours a week, each person on my team. So we're killing it. But it was funny when people say, hey, how can we help you? Like, are you guys okay? Just to show that sense of a community. It just means so much. It's a wonderful, wonderful group.
If you could talk to the governor directly, I know she's a little busy to probably take your call right now, Tara, but if you could talk to the governor right now, what would you tell her with regard to getting businesses open?
You know, we have to work with safety in mind. And there's a fine line of crossing into politics and business, and no matter what, it is what it is. But the reality of it is our businesses want to get back, but they do want to get back safely. So I don't want to say, hey, let's open tomorrow, because if we're not ready for it, then we're not ready for it. But I do think we're in the right direction to move forward and start opening these businesses and figuring out ways that we can eliminate the fear. And still, because if we have to do more things to become safe when we go to their environments, let's do it. But I want to see these businesses open up because we know the success of these family-owned businesses, these large businesses are dependent on having them open. So if we can move it along, we'd love to do so.
All right. Anything else you want to add? I appreciate you coming on the program today. Anything else you want to add? Talk about any programs or anything going on in Troy you want to share with us?
Well, we've been doing a lot for targeting our restaurants. On troychamber.com, we do have a ton of educational resources. We have a COVID-19 resource page, which also gives you directions towards if you're a small business and you're looking for funding. So it has all the county information, the state information. It goes through anything that's new, updated with the CDC. It also has any type of, like if you're looking to order some takeout now, all of our restaurants are listed in the services that they provide. But not only that, we've done a really great job working with county and city government, and I'm just very appreciative for all of that. But if you guys do have any questions, or please reach out. But I will say this is the best time to be a member of a chamber because you have a whole team working for you. So regardless of what city that you're in, reach out to your local chamber because they're there to help.
You know, and the one thing that the chambers are doing such a great job, we've been talking to all the chambers across our region, all across Oakland County. We have a chamber on almost every day. And, you know, just like anything else during the coronavirus, reach out. You're at home. You know, a lot of us are working at home. I get out to the studio, but other than that, I'm at home. And you get isolated, and you get kind of lonely, and you're not seeing people. You're not out calling on people. You're not, you know, socializing in the restaurant. Your chamber's a great place. Pick up the phone, call them, connect with some other businesses. So I appreciate that. I think it is I think it's anytime is a great time to be a member of Chamber. But I think right now.
I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to hug people again, and I'm a hugger.
Tara, thank you for joining. Good to meet you virtually. We'll look forward to meeting you in person real soon. Thanks for joining us today.
Sounds
and
good.
bringing some sunshine to our broadcast. Tara Tomcsik-Husak joining us today right here on the Megacast. A bundle of energy. I love it. She's got even more energy than I do, Tyler Keith.
I didn't think that was possible until
is.
this interview, and I've been proven wrong.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. You can see in the background of our studio, we've added a third spoke to the wheel. That's Erica Jones. We're going to chat with her in a couple of minutes and find out what we're going to be doing with her. We are actually, with things beginning to open up and loosen up a little bit, we made some arrangements with local law enforcement across our area to get Erica, who's in the back of the studio back there. Hi, Erica. You can wave. Get Erica all geared up. We've got an appropriate set of gear, including they are reserving an N95 mask for her.
Wow.
And so we're going to get her out on the streets and be able to hear the stories from you more, which we're really excited about. So we'll chat with her in a couple of minutes. Tyler and I are going to go over the news of the day. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we are going to talk to Natalie Sikora. She is the co-owner and stylist of the Studio for Hair. And where is that, Tyler? Do you know what community that's in?
I'm not entirely sure.
We're going to find out in a couple of minutes. And, you know, hairstylists have been making big news. First of all, I need a haircut so bad.
So do I.
I told this story on the air the other day. A friend of mine, I think it might be happening today, a friend of mine was able to have their dog go get a haircut for their dog. And their dog was able to get groomed. I said, hey, what gives? Your dog can get groomed and I can't get groomed. And what they have for the dogs? You know, the vets have drive-through drop-off for your pet, and and then they get groomed, and then they're looking good at the end of the day. Maybe we need to do that for people.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not practical.
No,
all right, we'll stop
it's
being
not.
silly. We'll be back in a minute. This is the Megacast. Dave, Tyler, and the amazing Erica. We'll be right back.
Coronavirus is deadly, but Michigan can fight back. Our front doors are the front lines of defense. Staying home is the best way to stop the spread, because just one infected person can give it to 40, who can give it to countless more. So call Grandma, don't visit. Video chat, don't meet up. And if you must go out for food or medicine, keep at least 6 feet from others. Stay home, stay safe, stop the spread.
Technology like smartphones are wonderful devices to reduce social isolation in older adults. You can call grandchildren, phone friends, participate in fitness classes, and play games. But you need to stay mindful of scams. Scams related to the COVID-19 virus are rising. These include attempts to obtain personal information from seniors, including pitching unreliable products, advice, tests, and cures. You need to stay vigilant and be cautious. If you feel that you have been taken advantage of, it's okay for you to reach out to somebody you know and seek out advice, or even contact your medical provider. Thank you.
Welcome back. It's not just a radio broadcast, not only a cable television broadcast, not only a streaming broadcast on Facebook in the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. It is all of the above and more. It is the Megacast on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH The Biff, WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, Bama, Birmingham area, Municipal Access, Civic Center TV, CivicCenterTV.com, and on and on and on, getting bigger every day all across Oakland County. We're here to get you the information you need during the coronavirus. I'm Dave Scott. He is Tyler Keefe. Erica Jones with us today as well. We'll talk to her in a moment. And we have an awful lot going on, Tyler. So starting with today, the biggest news of the day, Governor speaking later on today at around 3 o'clock, and we are going to hear the governor talk about continuing to open up our economies here in the state of Michigan. And maybe, or do you think maybe manufacturing? I think certainly. Restaurants possibly, businesses maybe, and a whole lot more. And we'll find out today at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she reacts to the recent decision-making by the legislature, what further restrictions may be lifted in the coming weeks. She had mentioned previously that more information would come out on that over time. There's a lot going on in the state still as we reopen the economy, as we slowly but surely come out from our quarantining, and it'll be interesting to know what.
Wait a minute. Quarantining, is that a word?
Yes.
There is a plural for quarantine, and it's quarantining.
If there isn't, there is now.
I think are you sure it's not quarantine?
I'm
that
very
would be
sure.
That would be the
That'd be a really bad fruit.
Quarantine.
Yes.
All right, we'll add that to our COVID vocabulary in there somewhere. Here are the news stories that we're watching today. You can go to civiccentertv.com and get the complete lowdown on all that is happening around the state and in your community when it comes to the coronavirus. So, making the biggest headline of the day, lawmakers file suit on Governor Whitmer's use of emergency powers. And if I was reading the news right, and there's more in this story, there are two lawsuits. There is a lawsuit from the Republican majority in the House and Senate. I think I got that right. And then there is an individual lawmaker who has also filed a suit in federal court. So one in state court, one in federal court. Bottom line, the Republicans feel the governor is going solo, and they want to have some opportunity to have impact. Governor says, hey, you're screwing things up. This is a crisis. Let me do my deal. Republicans are saying, wait, you're going solo. We want to have some input. This will eventually end up in the Michigan Supreme Court and maybe in federal court and elevate all the way through the federal courts. We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, everyone, Republicans, Democrats, governors, lawmakers, local cops, people like Tyler and I on the radio, we are all continuing to remind you the rules are in effect. The rules are in effect, and you still need to follow them. And that's getting more confusing, Tyler, because law enforcement officials are having a hard time knowing which way is up on a lot of these rules. And then we are watching the national news, and we're going to find out what's happening locally here in a minute. But then you follow the national news, and we see this salon owner in Texas going to jail for 7 days for staying open. A lot of people are concerned about that. And then we had another guy here in Michigan who kept his barbershop open for several days, and I think they shut him down. I've not seen the conclusion on that story, but we're going to talk to a local stylist here in the next couple of minutes and find out what's going on right here in our neighborhood. Governor Whitmer signs orders to expedite unemployment benefits, much needed. A lot of folks still having trouble, Tyler, getting the benefits that they so deserve.
Yeah, and it's taking a long time. They're not able to get through. They're having trouble with the system, just getting their information in. And there's been issues with unemployment since the beginning of this. It's an ongoing crisis, and people absolutely need that money.
One of the things that has been tying it up is a lot of employees have had several employers, and when you file for unemployment, the state's got to go back to all of those employers and work it all out. Story today on our website says that the governor has signed a new order that says unemployment office only needs to go back to your most recent employer, and hopefully that will make things a little better. As we've been talking about, press conference today, 3 o'clock. I'll hand it over to you, Tyler. Are we going to have that one live on CivicCenterTV.com?
Yes, we will be able to have that live.
Okay, so we will find out what she has to say. Again, she's going to be talking about the wave of reopening, so says Jeff, our producer in the story there. Path for Metro Detroit automotive industry to reopen is becoming more clear. Let's see what this is. Ford, Fiat Chrysler, General Motors preparing to restart their idled operations. Automotive plants are planning to reopen at the end of the month. Surprisingly, General Motors actually made money during the first quarter as well with big truck sales. You know what? I heard that this morning on the way in. I'm thinking, woo, woohoo, GM made money in first quarter. And then I thought about it. A lot of these shutdowns didn't really happen until mid-March. So there might, listen, I'm Mr. Optimism here, right? But I wonder what second quarter is going to look like for GM. So congratulations, great numbers. This is the home of the car. Couldn't be happier. General Motors CEO Mary Barra has been taking precautions and says, where our coronavirus safety protocols have been in place, we have not seen a confirmed case of community spread in our facilities. These are two very big crossed fingers you're seeing on television. Man, we get these auto plants open, and we can do it healthy and send a signal to the south where the food processing plants have been having a really hard time. That's going to be awesome, Tyler. If that's what happens, we show in Michigan we can do that. Forget all this protest in Lansing stuff and whether or not we can go up north. We can get our auto plants open and running and not have the coronavirus spread in the auto plants. That's going to be an accomplishment.
If it can be done, it's going to be huge for Michigan's economy, for the car dealerships all throughout the state that have had issues being able to sell cars and being able to have a stockpile of them to sell. And hopefully it will inspire some methodology for food processing plants also to clean up their operations and hopefully continue normal operations there as well.
Back to the website, how likely are we to have a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year? That's the question that everyone wants to know. We have a vaccine, things get better. No vaccine, a little bit more of a challenge. Therapeutics, making progress. Therapeutics, Tyler, those are the drugs that help people as they get the coronavirus to be cured quicker, better, safer. The vaccines takes a little time, but we did see one European group in the UK. They say they're close. So whatever, we'll see how that goes. You want to know more about where we are, go to our website and read the story. How likely are we to have a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year? Tough story here out of the Small Business Association of Michigan. And SBAM is saying that this is tough. Okay, you sitting down? I see. I see you are. Good. You're going to need it. 1 in 7 small businesses may not survive. That's a big hit. Yes. Some people have been predicting even bigger numbers. That is the word from Brian Culley, our former lieutenant governor, who now is one of the big shots at the Small Business Association of Michigan. That group, by the way, doing a great job. Really, an amazing job keeping the small business community informed and sharing a lot of information. So, interesting story there. We feel your pain. We do. Governor Whitmer extending the executive order allowing public bodies to meet remotely. We have that on our website because that's right in our wheelhouse here at Civic Center TV and our community television and radio stations. So that means that we can keep having Zoom meetings in West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Troy, Birmingham, wherever. And normally the Freedom of Information Act and the Public Meetings Act would not allow that, but that is going to continue. And then we always like having this link up on our site, the Oakland County coronavirus cases by zip code. And I was looking at the numbers, Tyler, and we definitely are making an improvement on the confirmed cases here in the county. And that, what's even more amazing about that is that seems to be happening in the against the backdrop of more testing, because there's testing showing up all over the place now. So we're doing more testing and we have fewer cases. We have flattened the curve.
Yeah, that's the good news, because as more testing came out, the fear was that, of course, we're going to see numbers spike because we're going to have more confirmed cases than we would have had before. But seeing the increased number of tests out there and the numbers also responding positively with less cases is great news for the future of our reaction to this crisis.
All right, so that is basically what's going on news-wise. Don't forget, again, today, 3 o'clock, the governor's going to be speaking. And, yeah, this is going to be a biggie. She's been doing these press conferences every day. This one will be a biggie, so we urge you to check in. Hey, can I ask you a favor, Tyler? Can we invite Erica to come up and share the co-pilot seat over there for a minute? We can get a chance to say hello and reintroduce Erica Jones and introduce Erica to a lot of folks who have not been with us. Erica Jones is a West Bloomfield high school graduate. She is a junior in the journalism program down at Miami. And hi, Erica. Welcome back up. Welcome back up north. You've been here. You've been here for a while. School kind of shut down a little earlier than you thought, huh?
I've been here for like 2 months now, actually, which is crazy that it's been that long. But yeah, I'm here. I just finished up online classes yesterday, actually. So right away, I'm in the studio, and I'm so glad that I'm able to be here.
All right, so here's the thing. When you come in our studio, you got to take the wipes here. Now, Tyler was first of all, you got to get, as much as I want, you got to get way over there. So I'm not even touching your mouth. Pull your microphone back over. Sorry, we have to do all this on together.
Still learning.
You know? Yeah, well, you know.
Rookie mistake.
No, it's cool. Every company, no harm, no foul. Every company has their own safety procedures, right? You gotta. We did the temperature thing before you came in, right? And you know, we're wearing masks when we're not on the air around our building, and we're keeping everything nice and clean. I got my side good, but thank you for. We don't know what. No, you're okay. Just don't hit the buttons though. Okay, don't press any of them. You're fine over there. So thank you for doing all that. I appreciate it. I'm going to work on my side over here. Got to keep it nice and clean. So, Erica, you're gonna get together with some of our good friends in law enforcement, and they are going to set you up with one of the very valuable I think they're one of those E85 or E95 or whatever they're called masks, so we can send you and get you near some of the first responders. The only reason we're doing that is because we're going to have you near first responders, and we want to make sure that we don't get any first responders sick. That would be terrible if that happened.
I just thought I was special, but
well, you are. Don't wear that professional mask to the grocery store, because people go, "What are you doing, man? Those are for first responders."
Right.
You are a broadcaster first responder, and we're going to have you near the first responders. So starting like Monday or Tuesday, once we get you all geared up, you are going to be our eyes and ears in the community. We're really looking forward to that. We couldn't do it a couple of weeks ago, but as things open up, we feel that now we can do that. So we're looking forward to having you out in the streets and talking to people. What do you think? What kind of stories are you going to look for when you get out there?
You know, really just anyone. I think during this time, it's so hard to find people who are willing to do stories and talk to you. So anyone that's willing to do a face-to-face interaction, even if it's wearing a mask and has something, you know, positive to say maybe, or I'm really into, you know, I actually just did a project for school on finding positivity within this whole thing, because all we're hearing every day is, you know, sob stories and people being so negative about it. But I think it's really important that we stay optimistic and find positivity, and as much as we can have a sense of normalcy and let our lives continue despite what's going on. So I'd love to hear people's take on that.
You know, well said. And this is not rehearsed broadcasting, friends. I know. I mean, she didn't know I was going to ask her that. And, you know, she's great. She's a real pro. We'll see you on CNN or Fox News someday. But no, I think it's great. I'm hearing the same from a lot of people that we've been talking to. Yes, we want to know what's going on, but does it have to be so negative? And, you know, to that end, Erica, it's nice. The hospitals have been doing a much better job of reporting people that have survived. You know, for a while it was these people have been infected and these people have died, and we didn't know how many people have survived, and a lot of people are surviving. So let's tell that story. And I also hope you'll get out. You'll see the heroic actions of our first responders, and we'll be able to visually see what they're doing. We'll be able to visually see some of the heroism that's going on at our hospitals. And I kind of look forward to hearing from just, you know, average folks that are going into the grocery store with their mask on and, you know, what's it like? How's it going? How's everything at their house? So hopefully we'll be able to collect some of that information as well.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking to people in the community and hearing different inputs on the whole situation. You know, especially at this rate, it's been a couple months now that everyone's kind of been social distancing or whatever. So, you know, I think some people are just kind of giving up on it and being like, oh, whatever at this point. And some people are still really sticking to it. So it'll be interesting to see how people feel about that. And
can I just ask you one question? So you were in South Florida at Miami as a college student, then you came back here to Oakland County. Do you feel safer here back at home, and how was it down there?
You know, I think when I first came home, I very much was convincing myself that I was safer back up, in Miami in my apartment, because I was in the mindset of, oh, well, I'm with people all my age, so if just all of us are together and, we're not as vulnerable to it, obviously, as other people, then it's better for me to be there. And, Michigan has been one of the worst states throughout, all of this.
Thanks for reminding us.
Of course, anytime.
No, you're right. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
So no, listen. This is all about honesty. I get it. I've been hanging out with a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, and I'm gonna go hang out with all you old folks up in Michigan. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, now I think it's better. Just I'm home. I don't go anywhere. But even if I were to be in Miami, it's not even so much about safety. It's like even at my apartment, the pool's closed, the gym is closed. So, at least now I'm stuck in my house rather than being stuck in an apartment that's, so small.
Well, we gotta get to our top of the hour break and our next guest. But another thing that maybe you can cover, you've got your own excellent perspective. What are younger folks doing in our community? How are they coping? I mean, when for me at my age to not be able to go out to the clubs at night and hang out with my friends, it's probably a good thing. But it's gotta be hard for younger people. So we're looking forward to your reports and your stories. I think it's going to be a great addition. We look forward to having you here at the anchor desk as well. And welcome back for the summer.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Erica Jones back on our team. We're going to take a break. We will be back in a couple of minutes. Tyler's going to need to slide back in here and hit a couple of buttons. Tyler, clean that space up there when you get over there. We'll be back in a moment. We are going to talk to the proprietor of a hair salon. It seems that for whatever reason, hair salons are on the front line. Well, a good reason. None of us have been able to get our hair cut for well over a month, and some folks in the hair business have said, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." So we'll talk about that. Thanks for tuning in on our great radio stations across the way. That's WAHS Auburn Hills, 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, better known as the Biff. And 89.3 is that the way you guys say it over there?
It is.
88.1 WBFH, the Biff. And 89.3 WBLD, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Keel Harbor, Sylvan Lake. Thanks to Bama TV, Civic Center TV, and huge thanks to the Walled Lake Consolidated Schools. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of the Megacast.
Hi, I'm Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter. Our top priority remains slowing the spread of COVID-19 in our communities. Please stay home, and when you must go out to an essential business, take precautions like social distancing and washing your hands when you come home. Because of the pandemic, we are behind in our response rate in Michigan. While you are home, please take a few minutes to fill out the census. It is more important than ever that we receive money back from our federal government. The census is Oakland Together.
I know you're concerned about the coronavirus, and we're working hard to combat its spread and keep your families safe. But we need your help too. Wash your hands often with soap for at least 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face and cough into your sleeve. Replace handshakes with an elbow bump. Avoid large crowds or events, and if you're sick, stay home and call your health provider. Every one of us can make a difference limiting the virus's spread and keeping Michigan healthy.
All right, thank you, Tyler. Get back in your side of the studio. TV viewers, I get the funniest comments from people. They're watching us on TV, and then, they say, hey, Tyler was too close. You're not wearing your mask. What's going on? Don't chew on that pen. Don't touch your face. Don't put your finger in your ear, or whatever it is. It's hard to keep all that straight. And by the way, would you get a darn haircut anyway? Look how long your hair is.
I know, it's awful.
Unbelievable.
I really do.
Thank you very much for joining us. It is the Megacast. This is not a television broadcast, not a radio broadcast, not a stream, not a podcast. It's all that combined into one. It is the Megacast. Dave Scott, glad to be with you again. Tyler Keefe over on the other side of the studio. Thanks to our radio stations, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH The Biff, WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, Civic Center TV Channel 15 on Comcast, Bama, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 on Comcast as well. Go to Channel 99 on AT&T and you can tune into the Megacast all over Metro Detroit. Just go into the government area, pick West Bloomfield or Birmingham, one of our communities, and you will see the Megacast. And a huge thanks to Ken Gutman, Superintendent of Schools at Walled Lake, and the entire Judy Avola and all the people out at Walled Lake Schools for putting us on the Walled Lake Consolidated School District Facebook page. And one more thank you here, other than to the amazingly hardworking Tyler Keefe, and of course to Erica Jones in the studio with us today. Thanks to the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission, who makes all this possible. We are in their facilities right here on Walnut Lake Road, and patiently waiting through that whole diatribe of broadcasting outlets is our next guest. She is Natalie Sikora, the co-owner and a stylist at the Studio for Hair. Natalie, good morning. Welcome to the Megacast. You look good on Zoom.
Thanks. Thanks for having me, Dave. Good morning.
I love the hair color. What do you got going there?
Well, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, why not have fun with your hair? That's how we look at it.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about doing the same, and Tyler says, Dave, you're way too old to do that. You are not cool enough. Just keep it simple. Let the gray come in and go with it. That's my look.
So go ahead.
That's a good look. It's a good look.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Where is where is the Studio for Hair? Where are you located?
We're in Farmington Hills at the northwest corner of 12 Mile and Orchard Lake Road.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. So, you guys are in the crosshairs right now in a good way. Hair studios, hair stylists, making a lot of news around the country and around the state. We have the stylist in Texas who's sitting in jail right now. I see you nodding your head, so you know that story. Yeah. Everybody does. We have a barbershop in Michigan, did the same thing, stayed open. They said, you know what? Sorry, Governor, I got to pay my family. I got to pay my bills. You guys are right in front of this whole issue. Do you have any thoughts about what's going on in your industry right now?
Well, I have a ton of thoughts about what's going on in my industry.
Well, that's what we're doing. Tell us. What are you thinking?
I think that, first of all, I think people are going to see us as far more essential than perhaps they saw us as before. So that's a good thing for our industry. I think that it's challenging times and for people to be making choices. I mean, we've chosen to follow the governor mandate, and we've chosen to follow the law in that respect. And I don't have judgments about people who don't. Everybody has their own journey and their own story. However, for our team and what we're about in our culture, we're following the government mandate.
Well, and I applaud that. I understand what these other folks are doing, but that's what, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, let's follow the laws. Even we can protest the laws. Let's try and follow the laws, and it's tough. And you're right. You're so right. I need a haircut so bad. I have not appreciated you look great. I have not appreciated the folks that take care of me more than ever right now. So what's going on? Is it hard for you? How you getting by and how your friends getting by?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have friends across North America. Solano is across North America. And there's a ton of social media pages that we're all on together. And for sure, the states like Georgia that's already open, we're all learning from them on how it is actually to negotiate wearing a mask and a shield and all the additional sanitation that we have to do and how that looks and the limited amount of guests that can be in our salon. That's challenging. So really from the time we've been shut down, and we shut down March, 17th, 16th, something like that. First of all, our goal was to get everyone on our team unemployment because we had to lay everyone off. And so we were able to manage that. So that's good. We did secure a PPP loan, which is challenging again. There's so many different requirements and legal documents that you have to have even in spending your PPP, and they're not, the SBA does not have that information to anyone yet. So that's challenging. And I think just keeping people on board. So we have developed a lot of new skill sets with Zoom meetings and to keep in touch with our team and to have people have a schedule. We found out early on that when people have a schedule and they feel that they're moving forward, that really helps people have confidence in what's happening. Certainly helped me.
Natalie Sikora is joining us. She's a co-owner and stylist of the Studio for Hair in Farmington Hills. We thank you very much. So it's good to hear, and I'm not surprised that you're keeping in touch with your colleagues around the country. What are you hearing from Georgia, where they are open now?
Yeah, I think the challenge has just been scheduling, like how we were scheduling is not available anymore. We used to double book, which means you're having multiple guests in there with assistants working with you and stuff. And that's not possible right now with the limited amount of people that can be in there at once. So a lot of it is just looking at how they've developed you have to put the plexiglass at the front desk and the gloves, the masks, the everything like that. There's just, it's hot. That's the primary thing that everybody says. It's very hot, just breathing and having that mask on. And they're recommending taking breaks throughout the day that you can take the mask off and be outside and just breathe and then go back in. I mean, at this stage, I am so inspired and admire our healthcare professionals that wear masks all the time, because you see how much blowback there is from people around wearing a mask, and they're not comfortable. So working and talking and wearing a mask, it's going to be interesting. And first of all, I don't know those earrings are going to work. They're a great look right now, but I don't know you're going to be able to make that work with. Those are some great earrings. Listen, Natalie, it's going to be really tough, and you think about the quintessential non-therapist that we all have. It's our bartender and the person that cuts our hair, or our stylist. And we all seem to develop really deep, many of us don't have superficial relationships and conversations, at least, with our stylist and our bartender. So that might be a little bit hard to do through all that apparatus. What do you think? Well, I think we all have to find ways to recreate our reality moving forward. It's not just our industry, it's everybody. So currently what my team is doing is everyone is reaching out and doing FaceTime consultations with their guests, just to kind of see if anybody's done anything to their hair, because that impacts how to correct it and what they need to do coming back in. But just connecting with people. I mean, I've been a hairdresser for 42 years, and there's people that I've been doing that long, and every month for 42 years, and you just think, it's a friendship, but it's a different kind of friendship. They're just part of your life and you're part of their life. And to be able to be separated from that like this is really hard. I mean, I just want to say extroverts are having a very difficult time with quarantine. Let me just
I get it. Natalie, we got to run in a minute. Before we go, do you have any tips? I mean, I did get out the scissors. That was a little scary, and tried to tighten things up just a little bit, because for folks that are watching right now, you can see there's a lot going on right back here behind my ears, and I got all this stuff right over my ears that normally wouldn't be there. And I have used more hair gel than I think I ever have in my life to kind of get things under control. But short of those, what can we do ourselves safely without creating a train wreck?
Yeah, I think cutting your hair that's never wrong. I mean, if you're going to cut your hair, cut it. A good stylist, and there's a lot of really good stylists out in Michigan. There's a lot of great stylists in Michigan. So if you're going to do something, that you have to do for yourself, if you're going to cut it, just try and err on the side of less is more. Don't try and go in like your stylist would. Just try and clean up would be my recommendation on that. And if you are going to have to do color on your hair, do some kind of demi-permanent that shampoos out. And that has less impact for your stylist when you go back. But the main thing I want to tell people what you can do is just be patient. Your stylist wants to work on you. We want to be open when it's safe. And every client wants to be the first one in. And obviously that's not possible. So we're working on rescheduling the people who were canceled first that's the order we're rebooking in. And so it's going to take time to get through everyone, and people just need to be patient.
Do you think you guys should have been essential employees? Do you think that we should have been able to keep your facility and other facilities open?
I think in the beginning there wasn't enough. Nobody knew what we needed to do. So I agree with the fact that we should have been shut down in the beginning. Okay. Now I think that, I hope the people who are making these decisions have more facts, real facts, and more information than I do. And it's taken time to collect our PPE. It's taken time. I mean, sourcing all of that. I feel like my next step is going to be behind the school with cash saying, give me some masks. I'll buy some masks from you. But I think that,
officer, she's not making a drug deal. She just needs some PPE.
I had a client tell me it would be my retirement fund, all my PPE.
I get it.
So,
are you ready? Are you ready, Natalie? You're ready to open up? I mean, and if, again, the governor's going to speak today, maybe she'll do it. But are you ready? You have the stuff, you have the tools, you have the strategy, you're ready to open up?
Yeah, I think that's it, the strategy. Our protocols and systems for how to move people through the salon, that's like the primary thing that we're changing. Yes, we have collected an exorbitant amount of PPE, so we're ready on that front. We've made changes in our studio, so we're ready on that front. And now it's just a matter of, we'll do a dry run the day before we open so that we understand how the timing is going to work to move people through and what that's going to look like. It's just a different business than the one we left.
All right. Thank you very much for your time today. I really enjoyed meeting you. You're a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything. I'm glad you got your PPP loan and you're doing okay, and that you're not going to be one of those 1 in 7 businesses that is not going to survive. And I look forward to meeting. I look forward to meeting you in person. And thank you very much. And please express our best wishes for good luck to all of the folks in your industry.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Natalie Sikora, she is the co-owner and a stylist at the Studio for Hair in Farmington Hills. It has not been easy for those folks either, Tyler. We're going to take a break in a minute. Tammy Miller checks in from Telegraph Urgent Care, and she runs 3 different urgent care centers and a drive-through testing facility. We are seeing more drive-through testing popping up all over the place. We'll talk to her about that and also discuss some of the other medical procedures and updates and just a diagnosis that you might need during this time of the coronavirus. A lot of us have been putting those things off. Kristen Nelson also checks in. She is a Oakland County Commissioner from the 5th District, and we'll chat with her in a couple of minutes as well. This is the Megacast. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, Eric Jones, and you. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19. Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. We know that COVID-19 is spreading rapidly across Michigan right now. The most important thing people can do to protect themselves is social distancing. That means unless you are a critical infrastructure worker or going out to get food or medicine for your home, you should be staying at home. Stay home, stay safe, save lives.
Doing our very best to practice social distancing here on our program. We don't really call it social distancing. We call it physical distancing. Tyler Keefe is don't touch me. Don't.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, 6 feet.
Stay on your side of the studio. Erica's way back there. We're more than 6 feet away.
6 feet.
We have our masks on. The minute we get out of the radio studio, we're wearing our masks. This is the most abused container of Clorox wipes anywhere in America, keeping our studio clean, and we hope that you're doing all those same things. I've been so impressed with the people of Oakland County doing a great job keeping their distance and wearing their masks. And Tyler Keefe, I have seen some really great creative masks out in the community when I've been going shopping and stopping in at the stores in our area.
Yeah, so have I. They've been fantastic. I went to the grocery store a couple days ago out in Wixom by where I live, and a lot of people wearing masks. The vast majority were, and a lot of creative ones there too.
So we know the hospitals have been working very hard to take care of the COVID-19 patients, and that has been their primary focus. We know a lot of other physicians and surgical centers and medical facilities across our county have not been able to treat patients through this crisis because we've needed to save all the resources for COVID-19 patients. That is changing, and we are beginning to see more and more testing around the area, which is absolutely fantastic. To give us a better glimpse of what's going on at the street level, we are delighted to be joined now by Tammy Miller. Tammy is with Telegraph Urgent Care, and Tammy checks in live via Zoom. Hey, Tammy, how you doing today?
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having us.
We are doing just fantastic, feeling well. And how about yourself? And could you tell us where you are right now?
I'm actually at my Telegraph Urgent Care right now, which is 2510 South Telegraph in West Bloomfield.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Tammy, for joining us. And so we're hearing that there's more testing now. At first, you can only go to the main hospitals, and now we're seeing testing available at more locations. Can you tell us what's going on and how that's impacting your facilities?
Actually, we have 11 facilities, 11 urgent cares that is serving the community all the way from Clinton Township, West Bloomfield, Royal Oak, Oxford, Rochester, Washington, and my Elizabeth Lake location in Waterford has been testing for almost 2 months now.
And what kind of tests are they doing out there?
We are doing a simple finger poke, which checks the antibodies and checks to see if they've had present or past infection. But we also do a nasal swab for confirmation.
I'd rather get the finger. Tyler, I don't know about you, but I saw those nasal swab tests. They do not look fun at all.
No, they don't. I think I'd rather just get a little poke.
I'll take a little poke any day. Tammy, are the nasal swab tests as bad as they look? I mean, we don't want to scare people, but
we go out and we talk to our patients, and it's a little uncomfortable, but it's not as bad as what you think it is.
Yeah, every time the doctor says, "Hey, this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you."
No, it's not that bad.
All right.
And it's very quick.
So the antibody test, that is so cool. I'm glad to hear you're doing that. That's what everyone's looking forward to. And I'd love to hear what's happening at your facility if you can share it with us. But we're just hearing that an awful lot of people are testing positive for the antibodies, and they had no idea that they had the coronavirus at all.
That's correct. There's a lot of patients that come in that have absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. We can do the finger poke, and even if they test negative, that's why we send out the swab for confirmation. And some of the swabs do come back that they are positive for COVID.
All right. So what kind of requirements are there right now? And we'll get on to other stuff, Tammy, but I'm so curious about this. And we see it reported in the news, but it's more fun to hear it right from folks that are doing it. What kind of requirements are there to have either of these tests, or can anyone get one?
Well, our criteria for our COVID patients are shortness of breath, fever, bluish lips, even some of the flu-like symptoms. We try not to get them to come into the urgent cares because we see our well patients inside. So we either have them pull up to the curbside. We do all curbside service. Provider goes out, nurse practitioner, medical assistant, myself, I'm an EMT. We go out, we pass out the paperwork, we do the finger poke, the swab, and usually they're done within 20 minutes.
So Tammy Miller from Telegraph Urgent Care across Oakland County and beyond, you're testing all the folks that you're testing are people that are symptomatic, and you're giving them both tests. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay. So if you're not symptomatic, you're really not getting a test. Is that the case? I know first responders can, but for the rest of us, is that the case primarily around Oakland County?
Well, even if they don't have symptoms, if they've been around loved ones that have had COVID, or if they've been in the hospital, we definitely recommend that they get tested.
All right. And how are your testing supplies working out?
Actually, my owners are medical doctors, so they order all of our COVID testing, which is the 10-minute finger poke, and we use 3 different accredited labs to send our labs to.
Well, that's incredible. So you have enough supplies to keep up with the prescriptions that your doctors are writing for tests. Is that correct?
Well, we've run into some issues with that in the past, but I think that's why we reached out to different labs. Different labs give us more supplies. We've actually reached out to even Oakland County to get us emergency PPE and emergency testing. So we don't run out.
And Tammy, the reason I'm asking this, and it's the whole focus of this entire broadcast, because like you, I go home, I turn on television, I see the local newscasts, I listen to the major radio stations, I watch CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and any other channel that's got news on it. And, some channels say, hey, everything's great, all the testing you need is out there. Other people say that we don't have anything and it's a crisis and the world is going to come to an end. That's why I like talking to people like you. Are the testing materials that you need for the people that absolutely have to have a test, are they available?
Right now, we've been very lucky. I've not run out of any testing supplies. We've got the flow coming in. We reach out to different people to bring the supplies in. And, I feel bad because sometimes, as you know, the media, there's a lot of scare out there. So we educate our patients. We tell them, stay home. Stay home if you're positive. We can write them a prescription here if they're not feeling well. We feel the need to reach out to our community and let people know that we're here for them. And not only the COVID, our urgent cares are still seeing people into the building, not with COVID, but sutures. We have a wellness room here that we have vitamin IVs. So we have multiple different things that we can help the community.
Well, it's really good news because a lot of people are scared. I mean, I'm sure you know it. A lot of folks, they don't want to go near a doctor's office, a hospital. If they run into a dentist, they start running right now. So, but people shouldn't be afraid. You've been able to separate those that are COVID-19 positive from other people, and it is safe to come into Telegraph Urgent Care and our other facilities. All right. So
absolutely. We have our PPE on, and we also just started a new program last week. Myself, a nurse practitioner, and a medical assistant, we travel now. We do travel COVID testing for the businesses that cannot come in and see us.
Wow. Tyler, did you hear that? House calls. We love it. So that's going to really be important. Businesses are going to need testing as they open up. So you will go to a business, test their employees. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
absolutely.
What kind of test are you going to give them? You're going to give them both? Or are you just going to give them the antibody test? Or what would you recommend?
No, we do both of them. Okay. We do both. We take our prescription pads with us in case they need medications. We do the finger poke, which checks for the antibodies, past, present, and we also do the nasal swab. And like I said, we have a nurse practitioner with us that can educate the businesses. Any questions whatsoever, what they should be doing, how the quarantine works, how many swabs that they have to have. If they do come back positive, how many swabs have to be negative before this employee can return to work.
So, Tammy, your answers have been very helpful, honest, truthful, and see, this is why I like this show. And not just because I host it, and that's the main reason I like the show. But I I like this show because we're just grassroots. We're getting a straight story from somebody who's doing it, not some media spin that you would see on a national television story. So let me go back and just ask you one more question, and if you can't answer it, I get it. So if you're going to businesses, a business doesn't know whether some people are sick or not. They can't know
Right.
So are you testing everybody in there, or how's that working?
Well, last week we visited our first facility, which was a nursing facility, and we actually had our PPE with us. We brought all the testing with us, and we have a room completely quarantined that's clean, that's safe. And yeah, some of them were kind of surprised that they did test positive.
All right. I thank you. I appreciate your answer. So that's really interesting news, and it's great you're going out to nursing homes because they definitely need it. But John Q Business on Maple Road, somewhere in our listening area, their folks come back. Maybe the governor is going to open it up later on today, and they feel they want to just make sure they're doing everything right. They can call Telegraph Urgent Care or maybe some other facility, and it's possible that they can get them to come over and do the testing, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And again, we have 11 facilities that can reach out, help the community. We have staff on board, on call, ready to go to help our patients.
Tammy, anything else you're seeing out in the community that you want to share with folks? Anything that you think that we might not be hearing elsewhere, or anything else you just want to say today?
I think even myself and my staff and some of my site leads, it has been amazing to talk to patients, listening to what they're scared of, educating them. We have patients bringing in us masks, lunches, coffees. It's been amazing. The team effort. Sometimes the patients have to wait a few minutes. They've been very patient. They've been wonderful. They just want to know that somebody's going to help them. And I'm glad that we can provide that for them.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for all you do. Please extend our thoughts and prayers and good wishes for everyone. You guys are on the front line. You are treating people that have this disease. That is putting your own life at risk. You definitely are. You and everyone, all the other first responders and medical professionals, we salute every single one of you and thank you for fighting this fight in this war. And thank you for your information. I learned a lot today that I've been reading everything online I could.
Thank you for the time. Thank you so much.
I learned a lot. Thank you. Tammy Miller, Telegraph Urgent Care. Do you guys have a website?
We do. It is www.telegraphurgentcare.com, and we are part of My Health.
All right. Tammy, thank you very much. TelegraphUrgentCare.com. Tammy Miller, great to have you with us on the show today.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you.
All right, take care. Tyler, that was a very interesting interview. I learned a lot. We got a lot of information. I didn't know you could get a house call and get testing to your business. Yeah. That's a new development that we were unaware of, and a lot of other information. It seems to me she's getting the supplies. There is testing out there. We're hearing more and more testing. We heard somebody say, I can't remember, one of our guests yesterday or the day before said that, we're beginning to see some testing at our pharmacies. So it's getting better. It's more accessible. And I didn't want to put Tammy on the spot, but it almost seems, Tyler, that that if you want to get a test, you can get a test. And I get the feeling that if you even have the slightest suspicion that you've been sick, that they're going to test you.
Yeah, and the testing availability is so widespread now, whereas when the testing was first beginning, you almost had to have severe symptoms. You had to schedule with your doctor. They had to schedule with a hospital or another facility.
I think you had to be like one step away from a ventilator.
You did.
And now,
you pretty much did. And now it's all over. It's all over the place. It's widespread.
Yep, that's good.
And you get the results so quickly, too, that you're not waiting there worrying about whether or not I have coronavirus if I get a test.
All right. Good news. Making progress. That is great news. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Thank you, Tammy. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Kristen Nelson is standing by, Oakland County Commissioner of the 5th District. We will chat with her in just a moment. You are watching and listening to the Megacast. I'm Dave Scott. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter. Our top priority remains slowing the spread of COVID-19 in our communities. Please stay home, and when you must go out to an essential business, take precautions like social distancing and washing your hands when you come home. Because of the pandemic, we are behind in our response rate in Michigan. While you are home, please take a few minutes to fill out the census. It is more important than ever that we receive money back from our federal government. The census is Oakland Together.
I see the light at the end of the tunnel. The sun is rising over the horizon. We are not out of the woods. Are you getting other cliches?
Don't count your eggs before they hatch.
That has nothing to do with this one.
Well, no, if you're saying they calm down.
All right. Hey, we are moving in the right direction.
What do you want?
All right. We got our foot on the accelerator, and we are going 95 down I-75, baby. I don't know where that one came from, but it just sounded cool. We used to say that back in the day when we were playing, like, Bachman Turner Overdrive in the 70s on the radio.
It's a great story.
All right, thanks. Hey, Dave. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe here in the Megacast. Let's get serious. Thank you for joining us. The Megacast is not a radio broadcast, not a television broadcast. It's not a cable cast. It's not even a podcast. It is all of the above. Thank you for tuning in on CivicCenterTV.com. Civic Center TV, Channel 15. Bama in the Birmingham area on Channel 15. Channel 99 on AT&T on great radio stations like 89.3 Lakes FM, West Bloomfield, Keegle Harbor, Commerce Township, and beyond. WBFH 88.1 The Biff in Bloomfield Hills, Beverly Hills, and all the other hills in the area. And WHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio. They are broadcasting live from Avondale High School at I-75 and Square Lake Road area. And they got more power than all of our other radio stations. They cover a big chunk of Oakland and Macomb County. And thank you for tuning in wherever you happen to be on the Megacast. Only a couple of minutes left today. And we are just so delighted to be joined right now by the Oakland County Commissioner of the 5th District. Her name is Kristen Nelson, and that is the 5th District is Keegle Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Waterford, West Bloomfield Township, and maybe a couple other little spots here and there. Did I get that right, Kristen?
You did. Keegle Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and small portions of Waterford and West Bloomfield.
Excellent. Good to see you again. We had a nice chat last time. Thank you for joining us again here on the Megacast. What's going on? I like throwing that out. I always learn something new by not asking a specific question. What is the Kristen Nelson coronavirus headline of the day?
It's just taking things day by day. Things day by day.
I like that. Yeah, a lot going on. The governor is going to talk later on today at 3 o'clock. I think it's going to be a biggie. We could be hearing about the auto plants and manufacturing opening up. We're hearing a lot of word about that. We just had a hairdresser on not too long ago, Natalie Sikora from the Studio Hair in Farmington Hills, and the hairstylists are ready to get back to work. The restaurants they're ready to open. They're making preparations. Do you think we're marching in the right direction? We're ready to get some of these businesses open?
I do think that we're marching in the right direction. I think we can all relate to feeling a little stir crazy. And I really do think that, we've made a lot of progress here in Oakland County and across our state. So I'm really eager to hear what our governor is going to share with us today for sure.
All right, well, we look forward to it. In Oakland County, we've had some really great programs that have come up over the last week or so, not the least of which was an additional $12 million for businesses. So when the federal government handed Oakland County a check for $200 million, you guys turned right around and said, we're going to give $12 million of that right back to the businesses. I like that. Do you think that's going to help out a lot?
I really do. Actually, later on today, I'm going to be meeting with our cohort groups and getting this second round out and going. I know that there's been talks about putting additional money into our small businesses, but we first have to get over this leg of our first application process that we started on April. We had a deadline on April 6th. So we're moving along, getting as much money as we can out to our small businesses because we know the importance and value of making sure that our small businesses can make it through this. So, you know, with the money that we're putting out right now, we are very, very hopeful that we're going to be putting even more money into our small businesses throughout Oakland County.
Well, I that's great news. They need it. They're getting support. But we saw a report from SBAM, the Small Business Association of Michigan, that said 1 out of 7 small businesses are going to fail. So we know they need the help. They're having a really tough time. So every bit of help, it all helps. Every single piece of assistance and encouragement they can get is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So
one of the
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
No, I was going to share one of the other exciting things that we established last week is that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, we adopted a resolution to create and form a social connectedness task force to identify solutions to reduce social isolation among our senior population here in Oakland County. Even prior to COVID-19, senior isolation has been a huge pressing health concern. And just with the outbreak of COVID-19, it's only exacerbated this problem. So I am super excited to charge forward with leading this task force, with all these changes that are taking place. I mean, a lot of us can take some of these changes for granted because we're already well equipped with technology. But, when we really take a look at it, we think about it, video conferencing is starting to replace our social interactions. Doctor's appointments are now taking place in our homes via, telemedicine. These services are being streamlined online. I mean, heck, you can even grocery shop and arrange for delivery to your homes. These are all, examples of the new norm. And one of the most important things that we have to keep in mind is we can't leave anybody behind as we move forward into, the age of technology even more. So we must do better at making sure that we are connecting our seniors to not just their loved ones and their families, but to their communities and services. And one way to really take a look at doing this right now, especially in light of the pandemic, is how can we bring technology to our seniors, and not just bring technology, not just look at, accessing the smartphones and the tablets, the computers and the internet, but more importantly, teaching our seniors how to utilize these devices so they can, independently reach out and be a part of things happening across their communities that are now on a digital platform.
Well said, and not just the seniors. I know we all need. It's all coming at us so fast. It's difficult keeping track of all this technology. I want to go back just one step, because when I got my notes from the amazing producer Jeff on this show, and I looked at this, I was just about to ask you about your task force, and I saw Social Connectedness Task Force. I got to be honest, I thought there was a typo from Jeff because I'd never seen the term social connectedness. And then I didn't even think, Tyler, now look, you're the Michigan State grad. I went to Grand Valley, okay? But I didn't even know that connectedness was a word.
Oh, it is.
And he, of course, I didn't. So no offense, but Kristen, I had to look it up. I got it over here on my other computer. And we're going to add that. We have a vocabulary. This is exactly what it's for. We have the COVID-19 vocabulary. I'm going to hold it up here. We're going to go through it in a little bit for our viewers. We are going to definitely add social connectedness to the vocabulary. I looked it up. So here's what it says. By nature, we are often social creatures, and when we connect with friends and family through fun and engaging activities, we're actually helping to maintain our sense of well-being. Social connectedness is the measure of how people come together and interact. See, you learn something every day.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So that's cool. So you guys obviously are aware of social connectedness. Is this something that we're seeing trending around the country, and it's a popular thing right now as a term and obviously use it for your task force?
It is. Obviously right now it's becoming a little bit more spotlighted in light of COVID-19. But, as I've said, social connectedness, social isolation has been a huge pressing health concern for many years. And, given that our seniors are the most vulnerable, it is an area of honing in on, especially during times when, many of our aging adults don't know how to utilize that time. And a lot of us take for granted. I said that in the sense of, if we can a man on the moon, we could mostly teach grand use FaceTime. And
and unfortunately, just as you're saying that, Kristen, your internet is bogging down a little bit, and we're losing your Zoom signal, so we're going to give it just a second to recuperate. I see you fine, but we're going to just give it a minute. There you are. You're back. So, no, it is. And so let me get to the point on this. What are you asking people to do? So are you asking people to just go out, pick up the phone, and call people? Is this a grassroots thing, or is it something that's more organized?
This task force has to think outside the box. We've got to get creative with not just short-term solutions, but also long-term solutions. I don't foresee this being a task force where we sit around and we talk and look at studies. I want action, and I want action immediately. We need to come up with these solutions, and we need to execute these solutions. It's a very unique time, just in light of a lot of the things that are transpiring, nationally. So we have a very small window to get things up and running now. And that is our goal. Like I said, there's a lot of initiatives that are taking place right now across the country with doing like helplines and, reaching out to, our vulnerable populations. So how can we take that a step further? I think it's great and it's wonderful to have these helplines and to have these, support services, but what can we do to really capitalize in on having our seniors take the initiative and feel the independence of themselves, of learning how to, adapt to a lot of these changes that are transpiring right now that's going to be brand new to them. So, doing some research leading into the formation of this task force, one of the things I found is that there really hasn't been a lot of things done with technology. There's been a lot done with outreaching with social workers. And like I said, those helplines. But as we look into the future, and there's so many unknowns with what the future holds, especially with our vulnerable populations, such as our seniors. We know how vulnerable they are to the virus. We don't know what timelines really look like, presently, let alone, 6 months into the future. So how can we be proactive and start developing these solutions that are going to be not just short term, but long term?
Well, Kristen, when you get an agenda, when you come back on the show, because I'd like to hear what you're going to do. Are you going to, maybe you're going to be setting up some Zoom meetings, some conferencing, some technology, get people interacting and training, whatever it is, let us know. We'd like to hear about it. And then in the meantime, we're just going to encourage people to pick up the phone and call somebody, right? Offer a friend a helping hand. That's really what it always has been and always will be all about, right?
Absolutely. And with that being said, too, make sure that you're taking moments in your day to check in with yourself. Like I said, things are changing so rapidly. Days are being filled. Days sometimes are blurring together. But most importantly, take moments to take care of yourself. And obviously, as you said, reach out to your family and your friends. I just wanted to share, last month, the Department of Health and Human Services launched a statewide warm line to help those, struggling with some mental health needs during this time. They're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Their phone number is 888-733-7753.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. We'll get that up on our website, 888-733-7753. That is a statewide mental health number. And why not pick it up and call and take a minute for yourself? Kristen Nelson, Commissioner of the 5th District, Oakland County, thank you very much for joining us. Good to see you. And you got to work on that energy level a little bit. You need to turn that up just a little bit more. No, I'm just kidding. You're like me. You're like all fired up all the time. I know you are.
Good. Life is good.
It is. Good to see you again.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. She is a bundle of energy. That's what we need. You need a lot of energy right now to get through this. We need leaders that are doing that. So, Tyler, we go through today, and just to kind of wrap this day into a bundle. Good to see that the schools are really doing a good job, and we continue to hear from our leaders in education, folks like Ken Gutman at the Walled Lake Schools doing an incredible job. Really interesting to hear that hairstylists around the country, folks like Natalie Sikora, who was on the show earlier, they are ready. They've got their PPE, they got their plexiglass shields, they got their plans, they've been talking with each other, and they're ready to go. We're ready to get the hair business, back in operation.
That's good news for you and I, especially.
We're definitely good news.
It's good to see these industries that are preparing for a comeback whenever that may occur, whether it's in the next week or it's a month from now. They'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to do so safely. That's exactly what we need to be hearing.
Excellent. Really good to hear from Tammy Miller today from Telegraph Urgent Care, who said they're making house calls to businesses, and they are testing in their facilities. They have the supplies they need. She said a little tight, but they have the supplies they need. They are doing both kind of tests. They're doing the nasal swab test and checking for coronavirus, COVID-19, and they're also doing the antibody test. They are doing both, and that one is just the pinprick. And they're getting results relatively quickly, and we got the impression from her that virtually almost anybody can get a test right now. So that's good. And really great to hear from Kristen Nelson, and to now add social connectedness to our dialogue and our COVID-19 vocabulary, and just, keeping an eye out for everybody that's part of the gig right now, for all of us to make sure that we are doing everything we can to help out, especially those people that are isolated. Governor, 3 o'clock today. We don't know exactly what she's going to say, but we got to believe that she's going to talk about, I would think, manufacturing, opening up manufacturing, maybe opening up some of these other sectors. And we're getting close. I mean, today's what, the 7th of May. May 15th is right around the corner. We've always known that is a benchmark. So maybe she'll be talking about some of the things that will be happening around mid-month, and maybe as we get toward the end of the month, Tyler.
I would imagine that either it's coming today or early on next week as we approach that May 15th ending to the stay-at-home order that was extended at the beginning of the month. It's just Governor Whitmer and Dr. Jonay Caldoun as of now, so I don't imagine any other industry in particular at that meeting or any other member of her staff as she's had the last few meetings, but I would expect some big news today. She took yesterday away from doing a press conference that she's been doing 3 days a week. So I'm expecting some news that took some preparation.
She had 2 lawsuits dropped on her desk yesterday, and I think she was planning on holding a press conference yesterday, and that got canceled. And, I get it. I get it. So she might have some reaction to those lawsuits, too. One from the Republican leadership in the House and the Senate, and or one or the other, contesting her ability to be able to continue to issue these executive orders and the legality of those executive orders. And the other lawsuit, and that one filed in state court, the other lawsuit filed in federal court from one of our lawmakers in the state of Michigan. So those 2 suits are sitting out there. I really thought it was cool, whether you side with the Republicans or the Democrats or everybody, wherever you are. I did think it was kind of cool that the folks that filed the lawsuit said, we're filing this lawsuit, but follow the rules. They're still enacted. For right now, you got to follow the rules. Don't break the rules, right? So I thought that was good. We have, again, back to the hair story for a minute. It just seems like hair care is on the front line of whether we are going to be obedient or not in the state of Michigan and around the country. We have certainly that hairdresser who is in jail in Texas right now for continuing to have her salon open. She defied the orders and is behind bars now. And then we had a barber shop here in Michigan did the same thing. I don't know where they are with law enforcement right now. I have to pull the story up, but it's been happening a little bit, and people are getting frustrated. We get it, but we'll keep an eye on those stories as we go forward. We only got a couple of minutes left today, so as we do every time you and I are together and we have a moment, it is time to go through the COVID-19 vocabulary. And we have this here so we can remind ourselves some of the foundational, basic things that we were talking about when we got the show started over a month ago, and remind people of the behaviors that we really want to encourage you of, and just make sure that you know all the vocabulary. There's a whole nother set of complicated vocabulary with a lot of multi-syllable words that we need to identify. So our COVID-19 vocabulary, flatten the curve. Flattening
the curve is a concerted effort by the population to take efforts to reduce the number of cases of COVID-19 so we don't have an exponential rise in cases.
When we started, it was social distancing. Now everyone is saying, no, physical distancing.
It's keeping a safe distance from other people, about 6 feet, which reduces the chances of you spreading the coronavirus to them or picking it up from them airborne.
Fomite transmission.
That's where you're picking up the virus off of a surface or from another person by physical contact. It's one of the reasons why you're told to wipe down your surfaces and not to touch your face, because you touch a surface that's got coronavirus on it and then touch your mouth, your eyes, your nose, whatever, you're going to be putting yourself at risk.
So for people watching, this would be a fomite fighter here, this container of Clorox bleach.
Yes.
Okay. Happy birthday song. Why is that on there?
You're suggested to sing that to yourself twice over while you're washing your hands to get a full length of washing.
My finger, I could almost put them on TV. My fingernails have never been so clean in my life. I used to wash my hands very quickly without a lot of thought. Now it's like, I feel like I'm a doctor, scrubbing up now every time I wash. So I think that's good. Asymptomatic.
If someone's asymptomatic, they may be carrying the coronavirus but not be showing physical symptoms.
Pandemic.
Pandemic is a worldwide spread of a disease or a virus in our case.
New normal.
That is the new way that we are living our lives in our society and throughout the world as a result of what we've gone through with this pandemic.
The COVID-19 equivalent of a drive-by shooting is curbside testing.
Not quite, but curbside testing is getting quick, expedient testing for COVID-19, usually in a drive-through method at a hospital or at a medical facility that also includes quick results.
And if you've not been tested, you might want to do so in an abundance of caution.
That's taking extra precautions to protect yourself and others from COVID-19.
We have all been staying, and it has been the subject of many protests, but we have all been staying for an awful long time under a stay-at-home order.
That is in order to stay in your home and avoid going out other than for essential tasks like groceries and work, unless it's absolutely necessary to do so.
All right, a unique vocabulary item for our broadcast only, Megacast.
Yeah, it's not your regular radio or TV broadcast, not just your regular simulcast. It is a collective effort between multiple media entities on multiple outlets to spread important information on a local level.
Coronavirus pandemic dreams.
Those are weird dreams you have because of either overstimuli or overstimulus or understimulus as a result of the pandemic.
I continue to have these really weird. I had a really weird one last night. We'll talk about when we get off the air. Contact tracing.
Contact tracing is the act of connecting with people who have been in contact with other people that have contracted the coronavirus, so you can kind of map out the spread and give forewarning to prevent further spread.
Yes, you got there. Non-dominant hand.
Your non-dominant hand is the opposite hand of the hand you use most often. I'm right-handed.
Right.
That's my dominant hand, which means my left hand is my non-dominant hand.
So what do you want to do with your left hand what do you want to do with your left hand? What do you want to do with your right hand?
Well, in this case specifically, you want to be interacting with surfaces, opening doors, using the buttons on our board, because you're less likely when you have an itch on your face to scratch your face.
So the answer is use your non-dominant hand for the tasks you would normally use the hand that you naturally use, and that way if you do happen to scratch your nose, you'll probably do it with your dominant hand, and then you're less likely. Right. Antibody testing.
That is testing to see if you have had some interaction with COVID-19, but your body, your immune system has reacted and defeated the virus.
And finally, today we add one more to the list, social connectedness.
That is the study and the act of keeping people connected through interaction with one another so that you can prevent loneliness and other mental health issues that result from it.
So in an example of solving social connectedness, I'm going to turn around right now and say, hello to the third person that is in the studio who we've not connected with at all, and that is Erica Jones, our reporter who is back from Miami University. Will be hitting the streets for us next week with a good collection of PPE and gloves and masks and other stuff, and able to get out and hang out with some of the first responders and folks like you and find out what's really going on out there. So, Erica, welcome back. We'll get you in the microphone with Tyler. Erica will be co-hosting the broadcast with Tyler in its entirety tomorrow, so you get a chance to meet her. Anything else?
No, that about covers it for
All
us
right.
today.
All right, Tyler. Hey, thank you very much. Been a really informative day. We had great guests today. We really appreciate each and every one of them coming on the show here. And I learned an awful lot today about the reality of the kind of testing that's going on in our community. I learned a new word. We met some new people. I just didn't think connectedness was actually a word. So it is. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Tyler and of course Erica will be here with the broadcast for you tomorrow. I unfortunately will not be here, and we'll see you next week. But of course, continue to stay tuned each and every day for all the information you need. A huge shout out to all the people that make this possible. WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, 88.1 WBFH The Biff, 89.3 Lakes FM, Birmingham Area Municipal Access Television, Channel 15 in the Birmingham, Bingham Farms, Beverly Hills, and Franklin area. Civic Center TV, Channel 15 in West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Eagle Harbor, Sylvan Lake. Channel 99 on AT&T, our community channels all across Oakland County. Make sure you go to civiccentertv.com. You can go to our website, as we are right now. You can see our coronavirus page with all the coronavirus news of the day, our Megacast links, and our Carryout Club. If you're getting hungry, it's almost lunchtime, and you're looking for somewhere to go for lunch today, go to the Carryout Club, and you will see a great listing of area restaurants. And last and certainly not least, a big shout-out to the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission, the operators of Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We really appreciate everything that they're doing and making all of this possible each and every day. Have a fantastic day. Be safe. Stay clean. Stay safe. Keep your distancing. And we will talk to you soon. This is the Megacast. Have a great day.